For the Cosby fire at a Paradiso restaurant a few blocks north of West Acres. They were called around 3 o'clock this morning.
Our reporter on scene says she heard firefighters using chainsaws on the building as crews went to the roof. Smoke was coming from the area where the wall meets the roof line, and initial reports also indicate that flames were seen coming from the attic. Firefighters tell us it does not appear suspicious. They say there is smoke and fire damage, and it's approximately $150,000 in damages. At this time, no reports of any injuries or the cause. New this morning, searchers are out in New Orleans going door to door searching for the victims of a string of tornadoes that slammed the state. At least one person is dead, and there are several reports of injuries and people trapped inside their homes.
Many homes are severely damaged, and power outages and downed power lines are reported throughout the area. Officials say there was one home that was lifted off its foundation and tossed into the middle of the street.
New this morning as well, a reminder to be careful out on the ice with our recent warm weather. Tri-State Diving recently had to pull this pickup out of a lake.
They say the pickup went through the ice on the southeast side of the Star Lake this past Saturday. Crews were able to get the pickup out of the water. No one was hurt. In our area, the next road in Fargo Moorhead to shut down for spring flooding closes this morning.
The 3rd Street underpass in Moorhead from 2nd Avenue south to 4th Street north is shutting down in 2 hours around 8 o'clock. That's the area from Woodlawn Park up to the Moorhead Center Mall. And that's because of the rising river levels. We want to get a check of your forecast with what to expect today with Summer Schnellbach. Good morning, Summer.
Good morning. We continue the slow and steady melts for today as temperatures to start are in the 30s, and it's going to be cooler and cloudy all day long with temperatures primarily in the 30s to low 40s. So continued melting conditions, but not as warm as we've been the last several days. And we're going to see that gusty north wind that's already gusty this morning continue through the rest of our day. Temperatures tonight then fall back below freezing to help slow that melt a bit. Currently, we are at 34 degrees in Fargo. Wind is out of the north at 21 miles per hour, gusting to 35 miles per hour. Moorhead currently 34 degrees as well. And up in the Northern Valley, Grand Forks is at 32 with wind out of the north at 20 miles per hour. Here's a look at some recent winds across the region. Up in Hallock, that wind is sustained or constant at 20 miles per hour. Where you see the areas shaded in yellow, that's where we're seeing those gusts over 20. Thief River Falls currently gusting to 29 miles per hour. In the Southern Valley, we have a few areas shaded in orange. That's indicative of wind gusts over 30 miles per hour. So here in Fargo, wind is sustained at 21 miles per hour, but we're seeing a gust to 35, gusting to 22 miles per hour in Detroit Lakes and 26 miles per hour in Fergus Falls, all out of the north, bringing in cooler air. And we're going to see this same wind trend all day long. Winds out of the north between 15 and 30 miles per hour, and we could see some potential gusts upwards of around 40 miles per hour. Your temperature planner for today in Fargo, fairly on the cool side. We've been a little spoiled the last few days with 40s and 50s. Today, we have a slim shot at hitting 40 degrees if we get a little bit more sunshine, but forecast right now is to hit around 37 degrees in Fargo, 38 in Grand Forks for today with a mix of sunshine and clouds and wind for all of us. So a windy day for today. But this is just a little hiccup with a cool down. Tomorrow, we're right back into the 40s, 49 degrees. Windy with a chance for more showers by Friday, including a little bit of snow. But then temperatures recover for the weekend. Another chance of some showers to start off next week.
All right, continue that nice mild trend for the melt here in the Red River Valley. All right, thank you, Summer. It is now 6:53. A North Dakota man who killed his family when he was 15 years old is asking for his 4 life sentences to be reduced. Michael NEUGEBAUER now claims that he was physically, sexually, and verbally abused by his father, and he suffers from PTSD. NEUGEBAUER says he found a gun in his grandmother's attic and used it to shoot his father, sister, and mother before reloading and shooting his little brother at their home in Minoken in January of 1992.
He says that none of it was planned and that his gun he had it for his protection. State prosecutors say that NEUGEBAUER also told a different story at a trial 30 years ago. A date for his next court hearing has not yet been set. A Moorhead man is going to prison for nearly 5 years for leaving a loaded gun in a home where a 6-year-old child was accidentally shot to death. Phillips Neal Jones Jr. is a convicted felon and pleaded guilty to illegally possessing a firearm. Children were left unsupervised, and one of them found the pistol under a snack box in the kitchen. The gun went off, hitting and killing a second child.
A North Dakota murder suspect who is out of jail after posting bond has a history of jumping bail. 34-year-old Nicole Rice is accused in the 2007 murder of her roommate in Minot. A 2012 affidavit from McHenry County Court shows that Rice failed to appear after pleading guilty to issuing checks without sufficient funds. Rice is accused of killing 18-year-old Anita Knudsen, whose body was found in their off-campus apartment. There has been no word yet on a motive. A man who police say hid in a slough to avoid arrest is being treated for severe hypothermia. A North Dakota Highway Patrol trooper tried stopping that man for speeding on I-94 near Jamestown on Monday night, but the guy took off and then ended up wading or swimming through a swamp.
Officers entered the water and located the suspect about an hour and a half later. He was taken first to the Jamestown hospital, then rushed to Fargo.
He was so severely hypothermic, he couldn't walk, he couldn't talk, he couldn't help us get him out of the slough. And so we had to, physically lift him, carry him.
Police have not yet released the man's name because he has not been formally charged. Two other people were also in the car at the time of the chase. They were arrested at the scene.
President Biden heads to Brussels today for an emergency summit with other NATO leaders. The White House says the president plans to unveil new economic sanctions aimed at cutting off the Russian military's funding.
The Biden administration is preparing to unveil as early as this week a plan to expedite and streamline the resettlement of some Ukrainian refugees in the U.S. That plan would allow vulnerable Ukrainians, specifically activists, journalists, and those in the LGBTQ community, to safely enter the U.S., at least temporarily. Sources say it would also expedite the reunification of Ukrainians with U.S.-based family members. A petition drive backed by an ultra-conservative group looking to place term limits on North Dakota lawmakers won't be on the November ballot.
Secretary of State Al Jair says that there were too many mistakes. Some of the problems were signatures that were likely forged. Petition workers were being paid bonuses based on their production, and signatures from residents of other states. Substitute teachers in Fargo are getting pay raises starting today. The school board last night approved change after shutting down a bigger proposed bump earlier this month.
Pay goes up from $112 for a day to $130 for those without a teaching license. Subs with that teaching license will be paid $150. Those pay hikes are temporary. They're expected to end on May 26. One of North Dakota's biggest tourist attractions is now struggling to find workers for the summer.
Medora only has about half of the number of employees it needs. So an incentive, the Medora Foundation is offering free seasonal housing for workers. A bird's eye view of the old Kmart building on South University gives you a good look at the demolition going on. You can see the roof is off and crews are almost done clearing out the inside.
Yeah, take a look. Exterior walls are still standing, though. What you see here is about 3 weeks worth of work. West Fargo street crews will be out along Cheyenne Street from Main Avenue West to 7th Avenue West tomorrow and Friday. That means no parking on the east side of Cheyenne from 2 to 7 a.m. Thursday and no parking on the west side from 2 to 7 a.m. on Friday.
Drivers may encounter some congestion and delays during the morning and evening commutes, and you may want to adjust your travel plans accordingly. Spring winter brings a lot of things to do in the valley, and not all of it is good. One thing county deputies keep an eye out is for mud running. They say mudding on low maintenance roads is a huge problem for townships who have to pay to get those roads cleaned and back to a safe condition. Damaging rural roads is a misdemeanor. You have to pay for damages.
The miracle of birth waits for no one. Just ask this new mom and dad right there, pictured there shortly ago. They were driving on I-94 near Woodbury, Minnesota on Sunday night when they had to pull over for a special delivery because mom was in labor. A police dispatcher then walked dad through the process of helping his wife, and before you know it, baby Ariel arrived. You see her right there.
Oh,
then
so
the
cute.
ambulance did pull up and they took both of them to the hospital. Thankfully, everyone is doing well, and mom and dad are now looking forward to the day they can tell their daughter about her grand and unusual entrance into this world. Also, speaking of grand and unusual, actor Tom Hanks must enjoy a good wedding. This past weekend in Pittsburgh, he couldn't help but join some wedding party festivities as he was walking by the bride's photo shoot.
This isn't the first time Hanks has photobombed a wedding. A few years back, he took pictures with newlyweds who were getting their pictures taken in Central Park. Hanks is in Pittsburgh filming a new movie.
Yeah, move over groom. You got Tom Hanks right there. Anyway, remember that the Today Show and CBS Mornings are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. More live up-to-the-minute news and weather coming up on the CW. Otherwise, have a great Wednesday. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.